Today, we're taking you on the ultimate beach getaway to the serene shores of Bolivar Peninsula and letting you in on the top 5 tips to help you have the best beach vacation. Stick around until the end for a bonus tip that'll help you on all your adventures. So grab your sunscreen and let's dive in. Whether we're here for a weekend retreat or a week-long escape over a holiday, the Bolivar Peninsula is our favorite place to unwind and adventure close to home. It's about a 6-hour drive from Dallas, so for our weekend getaways, we typically like to drive in on a Thursday afternoon after work, and since we have Starlink internet, we're able to work from the beach Friday during the day, and then we have the entire weekend to relax and come home Sunday afternoon.
So many years ago, it was like 2007, I decided I wanted to take a real vacation. I was trying to come up with a few ideas, and then I came across this article in Texas Monthly Magazine about the Bolivar Peninsula. I was like, what the heck is this? The article was talking about how they had miles of beautiful beaches, lots of fishing, how you can pick up all these great seashells. I had never heard of this place. I'd been to Galveston, and the beaches in Galveston, they're just like, okay. This article was like, there are some of the best beaches in Texas. I was like, okay, I got to check this out. So I did as every good computer geek does. I jumped on the computer and I Googled Bolivar Peninsula and Crystal Beach. I found this website that had tons of information about Crystal Beach, Bolivar Peninsula. So back then, there was no VRBO or Airbnb. You contacted a local agency to book a house. It was really low tech. I told the rental lady on the phone what I was looking for, want to do a week, the rough dates, and budget and things like that. She didn't tell you what they have. And keep in mind, back in those days, a rental was from Saturday to Thursday. There was a day off so they could turn the house or something like that. You would literally mail the agency a check, and then on your check-in day, you would have to get to the rental office before they close at 5 p.m. and pay the rest of the money and pick up your keys, towels, and sheets. Yes, I said towels and sheets. Back in those days, towels and sheets cost extra on your rental if you did not bring your own. So we rented a house in late August, so kids were already back in school, and that was considered shoulder season. I think it cost about $395 for the week, $11 for towels and sheet rental. Back in those days, the houses were not much. This place we rented was a little yellow beach house. It was tiny, 2 bedrooms, king bed in one, queen in the other, and one small bathroom, and had an open kitchen and living room. So a couple of things I learned along the way. The first night we got there, just figured, heck, we'll just go grab some dinner. At that time, there were not too many restaurants on the Bolivar, and you didn't have internet on your phone. Luckily, the big store is open, so we did get some food. We just ended up cooking at the house a bunch that week. So up to that point, I had never really been to the beach. Growing up, we went to places like Colorado and things like that. So just to hang on the beach, did some crab fishing, built some sandcastles, and just had a simple, relaxing time. Well, then a year later, 2008, Ike hit and almost wiped the Bolivar and Crystal Beach off the map. The eye of the storm landed in Galveston, Bolivar Peninsula, and Crystal Beach got the dirty side of the hurricane, with storm surge up to 20 feet plus. The devastation was terrible. I remember seeing pictures on the news all over the internet, and it looked like a bomb had gone off. And then there was this one picture that stood out time and time again. It was this yellow house in Gilchrist. Everything else was just gone, but there's just one house. We'll tell you more about this yellow house in Gilchrist in just a minute. There are a couple links below in this description about this yellow house in Gilchrist. It's a pretty amazing story on its own. So fast forward 1 year later, 2009, I'm talking with my mom, and she wants to get together to go somewhere. I suggested the beach. I was like, hey, Mom, think you can find us a place in Crystal Beach? So she ends up finding us this place in Gilchrist, a new house, super close to the beach, late in August, so we're all set. We just spent the week on the beach, hanging out, doing lots of fishing. I had never ocean fished that much up until then. Really did not have a clue what the heck I was doing. I ended up catching my first shark on the beach right there in Gilchrist. From that trip, it inspired my mom and stepdad to get an RV, and they ended up traveling up and down the Gulf Coast for many years to come. Many years passed before I go back to Bolivar and Crystal Beach in 2016. A group of us decided to do a long weekend, and we rented a house. We went down, had a great time on the beach. So that put a bug in my ear. I really want to get a beach house. So I started looking and looking and looking, but unfortunately, things were not within my reach at that time. Champagne dreams on a beer budget. So I kept that thought in the back of my head. How can I pull this off? And just kept looking. So a few more years pass, and it's late 2020, and I have a few more dollars saved, and I'm serious about finding a beach house. This goes on for a few months. Looking online, not finding anything. I actually put in several offers on houses and got outbid. So it's this up and down roller coaster of emotions. Then this freak thing happened in 2021. Snowmageddon hits Texas. It's the most costly weather disaster in the history of Texas. So on Saturday, 2/13, the day before Valentine's Day, I get a call from my stepdad. He's like, hey, check your email. I might have found you something. Because he had been helping me look online for houses. I look at this sweet house that just came on the market late Friday night. It checks all the boxes I'm looking for. I don't even hesitate. I call my real estate agent, get an offer in this house now. So by that night, I had made a full offer on this house. And then all heck breaks loose in the state of Texas. Most of the state was out without power. It's very chaotic, which plays into my favor. I think it's about 2 or 3 days later, we had an accepted offer. And by the next weekend, we're doing a walkthrough and inspections. Closed on the house a few weeks after that. So we're right on the beach in Gilchrist. A few blocks to the east of me is a house we rented in 2009. And a few blocks to the west of me is that yellow house, the last house standing. We like to refer to it as the survivor house. So it was kind of meant to be. I tell you all that backstory, but it contains all the tips and tricks we have learned over the years of coming to the beach.
Tip number 1 is all about timing. Be open to booking different times of the year. Summer and spring are going to be the big seasons, and book up almost a year in advance.
Peak season runs from Memorial Day to Labor Day. You can find some excellent deals just outside of peak season.
Hurricane season is from June to the end of November, so keep that in mind as well, and check out some of the forecasting apps available to stay aware of any storms that might be coming.
We will link some of our favorite forecast apps below.
September and October are great times of the year. The water is still warm, fishing is really good, and we're at the end of hurricane season.
Late fall and winter is also nice. It's very quiet and you will have the beach all to yourself. If you like to go beachcombing, pick up seashells, late fall and the winter is your best bet, and it's cheaper too. Tip number 2, if you go hungry, it's your own fault.
Don't worry if you didn't manage to catch dinner. The peninsula offers many wonderful dining options. From fresh shrimp and mouth-watering crab legs to authentic Tex-Mex or even sushi, you'll be able to find something delicious to fill you up. Stingaree's has you covered with fresh seafood. This restaurant's located on the bay side of the Bolivar and boasts incredible margaritas, live music, and a large deck to view the breathtaking sunset over the bay. If you love the Gulf but seafood isn't your thing, that's okay too. Jose's has great Mexican food, and Hardheads has fresh American staples like juicy burgers and crispy chicken tenders and a great selection of beer. If you want something with a Cajun Creole flair, JUANITA's Fish Camp has you covered. Tip number 3 is just 3 letters, SPF. The sun is brutal out there. If you're on the beach for any given amount of time, you will get some sun. I don't know how many times we've brought people to the beach and they get toasted on the first day, even when it's cloudy out. Don't let that fool you. And nothing will ruin a wonderful beach vacation quicker than being totally miserable and sunburned. So don't skimp on the sunscreen. Wear a hat, sunglasses, and a long-sleeve SPF-rated sun shirt to best protect yourself from the sun. Tip number 4, leave only footprints and take only pictures, and a few great shells if you're lucky.
Sand dunes are a big part of the landscape at our beaches. These dunes act as a barrier to storms and storm surge. They prevent erosion of beaches and protect beachfront structures. Walking on the dunes can destroy the plants that hold them together. Without these plants, the wind would erode the sand off the dune, diminishing its effectiveness as a natural barrier. This is why it is important to stay off the dunes and always use designated dune walkways. All dunes and vegetation are protected under the Texas Natural Resource Code and Texas Administrative Code. So, pro tip number 4 is be respectful of the environment, stay off the dunes. No glass bottles on the beach. And if you're going to drive or park on the beach, get a beach parking sticker.
And if you don't have a sticker, they have a lovely man who patrols the beach, and he will drive up to you and sell you one.
He's really nice. He's not like overly aggressive about it. He comes up, he
He's
talks to
very
you.
sweet.
Very sweet guy. We've talked to him a lot of times. He lives just down the road from where we are. He drives up and down the beach. He wants to make sure like you're having a good time. He's going to check with you. What are you doing on the beach? What's happening? Are you guys just fixing to leave?
And a lot of people don't know that you can't have glass bottles, so he'll inform you and let you know what the rules are.
Definitely, he's not going to be the dictator of the law and something like that. He wants to make sure you're having a good time. But the big thing about glass bottles, if the sheriff does drive down the beach and he does catch you with it, that is a $250 fine.
So he's not as nice as the beach guy.
No, he's not as nice as beach guy. And Bolivar is one of those beaches. One of the things we like is when we're out shell hunting and doing other things, you can actually drive on the beach. There's 27 miles of beautiful beach in Bolivar, and it's one of the only beaches that you can actually drive on.
Yeah.
In Galveston, you really can't drive on the beaches. There's a few little areas down by Seaside you might be able to. South Padre really can't drive on the beach. And that's one of the nice things about Bolivar is you can drive your car down there, you can drive along for a while. If you have a golf cart, putt around. If you're trying to set up camp for the day,
yeah, if you're fishing, you're just setting up with your chairs, and you can drive right up to the beach from your rental, your house, and unload everything. You don't have to drag it across the beach, which is super nice, especially when it gets really hot.
Yeah, so it's nice to be able to do that. One of the big things, kid, remember, just be respectful. There's a lot of kids, families on the beach, and some people, they get a little wild, but, just if you're going to drive on the beach, get a beach permit so you can park.
And you can get those at any stores. You can get them at the big store. That Latitudes store sells them as well.
And then, if the beach guy, comes along,
then you get conversation and your beach pass.
And he typically hands out some freebies too. Like when we were down there one day, he came along, we had a beach sticker, but he gave us a bunch of freebies like a frisbee and a foam case for the beach and some fun other kids stickers.
Yeah, super nice guy.
Just a real nice guy. Like a lot of the people that you will meet on the beach, they are real nice people. They want you to have a good time. But
absolutely, like when you go into the local restaurants and places, just people are super nice.
But definitely be respectful of the environment. Have your beach sticker. No glass bottles. Put your trash in the trash barrels. There's trash barrels all along the beach. There's these big blue barrels closer to the dune. Just put your trash in there. Just be respectful to the environment. The environment that has been given to us is so beautiful, so wonderful. And then, the last one, stay off the dunes.
Yeah. Very important.
The dunes are not, it's not a big, people think that's a big sandbox when you get up there and crawl on it and play on it.
And dig, yes. It's inviting, honestly. It's inviting, but it serves a purpose. The dunes serve a purpose.
They're there to, protect the inland structures. And, they're there to protect the beach erosion. They're also, the other big thing is stay off the dunes because in some areas there's snakes.
And sea turtles, right?
Sea turtles will come up and nest in the Bolivar area. If you do see a sea turtle, there's a number posted. It's usually attached to where the barrels are, the trash barrels. Sea turtles are very highly protected in that area. So if you do see some come up and nesting, don't approach them. Don't mess with them. You call the number ASAP so the sea turtle people from Galveston can come out and make sure their eggs are secure and taken care of. And they usually take them and incubate them so they can make sure those turtles get back out in the wild. They do an awesome job. There's a sea turtle center in Galveston.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Protects the turtles, helps, injured turtles, helps, they're helping to rebuild the population. So if you do see a sea turtle on the beach, call the number right away so that, the people from Galveston come, make sure it's okay. Make sure if it's laying eggs that the eggs are safe.
So yeah, that and the snakes. Two really good reasons to stay off the dunes. We've seen just, harmless snakes, but also I've seen water moccasins out there. Last summer, we were out crabbing in High Island, right? Is that where we were?
Yes.
Okay. And I thought it was a stick. And I'm just walking along and I see this long black thing and I stop. And it was a water moccasin just sitting out getting some sun. And it wasn't aggressive. I did take some video of that. And I saw him, he saw me, and he just kind of booked it back in the water, thankfully. But it wasn't even on my radar, honestly. So just be aware. He didn't want to hurt me, but if I had stepped on him accidentally, it might have been a different story.
Yeah, so there's just another reason to stay off the dunes. There is snakes and other critters there.
I mean, I wasn't in the dune, but they're there, right? They're there.
There are a couple different ways to get to the Bolivar Peninsula. You can come down I-10 and go through Winnie, or you can come down through Galveston and take the ferry over to the peninsula.
I love the ferry. It's a lot of fun because you get to see a lot of the fish and the birds. You can go to the back. You can feed the seagulls. A lot of times you get to spot dolphins. You can go up to the second floor and actually get a really nice view of the Gulf.
You also sometimes when you're coming over on the ferry, you get to see some of the bigger ships, maybe a cruise ship, a container ship, things of that nature. But be conscious of the ferry. Sometimes on weekends and busier holidays, the wait time can get in excess of an hour. So just keep that in mind if you're going to travel from Galveston to the peninsula or the peninsula back to Galveston. Sometimes there is a long wait on the ferry, but it is definitely a fun ride if you like that kind of thing. We always definitely like the ride on the ferry because we get to see the dolphins, get to see the birds, get to see different kinds of ships, and you just kind of get that ocean breeze in your face as it's moving along and kind of floating across the water. It's definitely lots of fun.
Yeah, and there's a lot of really cool stuff to see in Galveston as well. They have the pleasure pier. If you have small children, that's a really fun place to visit as well. And a lot of nice restaurants, museums. So there's a lot to do.
Also, too, if that's not kind of your thing and you just want to get to the peninsula so you can get straight to the beach, think about coming out I-10 and coming down Windy, down to 87 and cut through that way. It will save you a lot of time, a little bit farther a drive, but the difference in time will make up.
That's what we typically do.
That's typically how we get there. We come down through Houston, then cut out I-10, and then come down 87 and drops us right at the beach house there. So definitely keep that in mind as one of your routes as you're planning your trip. The Galveston-Bolivar Ferry is the link between Galveston and Bolivar Peninsula on Highway 87. The service is provided free to all travelers 24 hours a day by TxDOT since 1934. Each trip covers about 2.7 miles and takes about 18 minutes. One ferry operates 24 hours a day, while a second is placed in service at 6:30 a.m. and a third in the afternoon. From Houston, take I-45 south to Galveston. After you pass over the causeway, continue down Broadway until you reach the beach. Turn left on Ferry Road and continue to the landing. It takes the free Galveston-Bolivar ferry about 20 minutes to travel across the bay to Bolivar Peninsula. Note, ferry lines can be very long on summer and holiday weekends, in some cases in excess of an hour. Alternate route from Houston to avoid long ferry lines. Take I-10 east to Winnie, exit 828, then south on Highway 124 until you come to the Beach Road, Highway 87. If coming from the Beaumont area, take I-10 west to Winnie, then south on Highway 124 until you come to the Beach Road, Highway 87.
Our last and most beneficial tip is to pack less. Less is more. The less you pack, the less you have to unpack and carry up the stairs to the beach house and then bring back home. The less you have to clean and keep track of as well, so you won't be leaving anything.
I understand when you go to the beach, you want to take all these fun things that you think you might need on the beach. Umbrellas and toys and chairs and all sorts of other stuff. And we've been to the beach enough times to figure out that just going to the beach is sometimes enough. Grab your chair, grab your sunscreen for sure. Your towel. That really is, when you simplify it down, that's really as much as you need. We see people coming down and they're unloading their truck or their Jeep or their car and they just have just tons of stuff.
We do have a sun shelter because you do need a sun shelter, but it doesn't need to be super elaborate. We have seeing people with massive setups. And I mean, if you have a camp and you've got 20 people and you're cooking, and I mean, I've seen them do that, that's warranted. But if it's just a few people, you really can.
Yeah, you'll see them unpacking their cars and their Jeeps and their trucks, and they'll have all this stuff, and it never moves from underneath the house, never makes it to the beach.
Yeah.
And then you see them packing it all back up. So take it from us. We've been to the beach 20, 30, 50 times at least.
Yeah.
And we always have what we call people come down that they go full on.
Same with food, right?
Same with food. And we'll have guests come down and they'll just bring all this stuff and they'll just never make it out of the car and never make it to the beach.
Mm-hmm.
If you think about it, would you do that at home? That's kind of the trick. Would you take these 9 pairs of socks that you don't really need? Would you take all these elaborate lights and other setup that you're not going to use at the beach?
Yeah, you're not going to need fancy clothes. Just some swimsuits, shorts, maybe a sundress if you're going out to eat. You really don't need a lot.
And if you do need something, you can go down to the big store.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah,
they have everything.
They have everything. So if there's something you need sunscreen, you need ice, you need beer.
You forget your swimsuit. That's happened to me.
You maybe just want a new pair of flip-flops. Big store has it. We call it basically from toilet paper to tampons. They got it all.
They do.
I mean, and it's the main store, and it's a fun place to go.
It's a grocery store, gift shop, hardware store,
bank, pizza place, all in one. You can get pretty much everything you need there. So think about that too. If you didn't bring it, you can always run down to the big store to get your supplies, get some ice, get some beer, some taco making supplies, and you're good to go. And you get your beach sticker there too at the big store. Yeah. And then say hi to our nice friend as you walk in, the security guard who always greets every person there, which is always just a wonderful,
nice guy.
Nice guy. We love him. He greets everybody that comes in. Just makes you feel welcome and warm there, just like everybody else on the Bolivar. But tip number 1, if you don't really need it, don't bring it. Just go to the beach to enjoy the beach. You'll be glad you did.
You'll have a lot less stress of packing and unpacking and dragging it all back up and up the stairs and then back down the stairs.
And as always, please like and subscribe for more travel tips and adventures.